All right, and we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our live stream today. The first thing we're definitely going to look at is what's going on in the crypto markets. I'm sure a lot of people, the first thing they're doing when they're checking on the phone this morning or over the weekend are saying like, hey, there's a lot of red on the screen here. What is happening? So I'm going to weigh in on that this morning, whether you should worry about this or not, okay? And we're going to look at a lot of the updates that have happened in the space since yesterday. We got a pretty exciting development for Web 3.0, potentially, all right, in the works today. We're going to talk about that. We're going to look at some other crazy things that have happened with NFTs in the space. We're going to get a lot in this video, okay? We're going to answer some of your questions and a whole lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to know how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp and get started today. Last but not least, like nothing I'm saying in this video is it's not be financial advice. There's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. Like I'm never going to give you my phone number or ask you to invest with me. So we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Highs, Technically, David, Jose, Lee, Aline, I hope I'm saying that right, Rodrigo, Oscar, Christian, Darkos, Capital Ape, Jose, welcome. All right, so let's jump into this. We got a lot to cover in our stream today. But the first and foremost, we're going to take a look at the crypto markets and see and taking a look at what's going on here. Let me just pull this on my screen here. So we have quite a bit of red, on the charts today. Let me just pull it up here. Sorry, I lost my chart as soon as I was pulling up my live stream software here. So we got quite a bit of red of what's going on the charts here, right? Bitcoin, we are back, below $40,000. We're at $39,160 at the time of making this live stream. Of course, we saw lots of price, a lot of bad price action over the weekend, okay? And today we're seeing a little bit of recovery here in the morning, but things are looking, have not looked great. And so people are like, hey, what's going on with the markets here? So, definitely, I'm going to reiterate everything that I've been saying on these streams for quite some time now. If you haven't been tuning to these, is that what's happening in crypto right now is, in my opinion, not a crypto-specific problem. Okay, this is definitely much bigger than crypto. Okay, we can see that clearly by what's happening with stock markets. Across any major stock index, we can see what's happening with any sort of growth related market that's kind of similar to how crypto trades. Anything that people perceive as risky is pretty risk off right now. Okay, crypto is no exception. So I think that's the biggest factor in why we're seeing the price action with major assets like Bitcoin and others. Of course, altcoins are a different story, tend to trade a little bit differently from some of the majors. Bitcoin, that can hit a lot harder when these types of things happen. So what a lot of people are definitely watching is the fact that we got this rejection, okay, previously at this 200-day moving average. Right now, all of our indicators are kind of pointing downward, okay, all of our moving averages. I think a lot of people are worried about are some of the previous long-term moving averages crossing one another to the bearish downside. But honestly, I'm not going to get too caught up in the technicals of what's happening with the crypto prices right now. I'm more looking at the big picture of what's affecting everything, which is stock markets, crypto, any financial market right now is just getting spanked. Okay, so what are some of the common factors here? Well, definitely what's going on with monetary policy, particularly in the United States with the central bank, and what's happening with the desire to keep inflation under control, which is raising rates. So I want to pull up a tweet thread here that I thought was pretty good, good explanation of this type of thing. So basically, let's dive into this. This is Raul Paul over at Real Vision Finance Global Macro Investor. So basically, I think the surprise in the near-term horizon is a collapse in economic growth in the U.S. Okay, definitely a U.S. economy issue, also a global economy issue, but that's one major factor in what's happening with the central bank right now. So SPX is pricing ISM at 50. So basically, let's take a look at this. Dollars pricing ISM around 52. All right, but bonds pricing current ISM, not future ISM, and it's clear the equity market. So this is the important part. It's not clear if the equity market has further downside or the dollar has further upside, but commodity inflation possibly, quite possibly peaked a while ago, okay? And the China's business cycle suggests that growth might be lower than most expect, okay? So this is the interesting part right here. So my view is that we are rapidly approaching an inflection point where peak inflation fears give way to lower inflation and fast decelerating growth. So that will change the structure of markets, but first we need to see if we get a correlation of one event in the coming weeks. So definitely something to watch out for. So this is where the central bank comes into play. So the answers to higher prices is demand destruction. Okay, the Fed is a sideshow as the markets have already taken rates up so far as to invert the yield curve, and inflation is acting as a huge monetary tightening. Okay, if growth slows rapidly, commodity prices will fall. So he's like looking at oil here. He said soon to be time to buy bonds where diamonds. That day is getting very, very close. So, yeah, I think a lot of that's pretty spot on. That basically, we're seeing a lot of this stuff react to rising interest rates. There's a pretty big inverse correlation in these asset prices and the rate that we can lend money at. Okay. And, we're seeing a hawkish Fed come in to raise these interest rates. And one way to basically keep inflation in control is to destroy demand. And you destroy demand pretty quickly by increasing the cost of borrowing money to buy things. Okay. So I think that's a huge factor of what's happening across all markets, and crypto is no exception. Okay. Previously when we saw crypto sort of rip to all-time highs, we were in a very loose monetary environment. Okay. But yeah. So anyways, in terms of the short-term outlook, about whether, Bitcoin could make or other cryptos could make another low here. The real question is the stock market going to make another low, in my opinion. Okay. So like, is the S&P 500, Dow Jones, any of these major stock indices, are we going to see them, topple back down, below, below some of their previous levels? I mean, some of them are getting pretty close. Okay. And have some sort of final capitulation event. I think that's what a lot of people are looking for, is this opportunity for things to just absolutely dump and then, have some sort of entry. And maybe those things could coincide from, having a Fed meeting saying, hey, we're going to have like some crazy, 75 basis point hikes, like 3 of them, instantly. And then we're just going to instantly, rates are going to go vertical. I think that's a fear that people will have, and if that happens, we could see some sort of capitulation event. I'm no expert in this particular topic. I mean, nobody is an expert in the future because nobody exactly knows what's going to happen. But that's kind of the thing that would potentially happen in the downside that I think would, cause a final capitulation that would, be somewhat like what we saw March of 2020. Where we kind of had this generational buying opportunity. So that being said, in terms of like panic, being in the markets now, of course, I'm not going to give financial advice on this particular issue. But what am I personally doing? I mean, I'm personally just holding on and, basically doing what I like to do, which is a whole lot of nothing. Okay. In times like these, for me particular, the best course of action is to just stay the course. I don't think this has changed the future of crypto by any stretch of the imagination for the long term. I still think we're seeing crazy adoption of this technology. And, part of it you have to think about crypto is just like every field of innovation, crypto jumps and leaps. And what's the quote? I think it's a Lenin quote, basically saying like, there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen, something to that effect. And that's kind of true of crypto now in smaller time frames. It's more like you might have a year where nothing really exciting happens, and then you have, a few weeks where years of exciting things happen. And I think that's kind of the cycle that we're going through right now. We haven't seen a ton of like amazing stuff come out in crypto. Like we saw kind of from the period of middle of 2020 through middle of, early 2021, we kind of had this big explosion. I think that's another reason that, kind of crypto has slowed down a little bit, but you can't assume that that type of innovation is going to continue to happen all the time. It doesn't have to. Okay, part of the actually exciting thing for me about watching crypto is watching all the small things that add up until it eventually hits this tipping point and this inflection point where you see the big stuff and the fireworks really explode. Okay, and so I'm seeing evidence all the time of those little small wins that add up to each little pellet in the gun before it goes off like crazy. So that's definitely what I'm tracking all the time in terms of fundamentals. We could look at lots of examples of those today in the stream. So that being said, let's look at a couple. So the first thing, is not necessarily crypto specific. I hope it's crypto specific. We've been talking about this some on the channel, but I want to bring it back up, which is, Elon Musk buying Twitter. Now, one of the reasons this is potentially crypto specific is a lot of people hope that Twitter could pivot to becoming a Web 3.0 social network. Okay. And that's, Twitter changing hands to becoming a private company owned by Elon Musk could potentially, all right, asterisk, potentially, have something to do with that. Okay. So lots of reasons that we kind of put these pieces together. Elon Musk put out a poll on his Twitter a while back saying, hey, should the Twitter algorithm be open source? That's a very Web 3.0 value of transparency. Okay. We see things like Twitter adding support for NFT profile pictures, for crypto tipping, connecting your blockchain wallet. The idea of having a free speech platform where you could put things out there in a transparent way. That's very Web 3.0. Also, Twitter being, I would consider a little bit of an underdog social media platform in terms of the majors out there, and sort of having something that could position it to be really different and among that class. And also the final thing is basically if a Web 3.0 social network takes off, it's a lot easier to piggyback off something that already has a vast network effect like Twitter rather than create a new social media platform from scratch. Anyways, we don't know if Twitter's going to become a Web 3.0 social media network, but there is hopes that it could be. And part of Elon Musk could be a key player in that. So that's why we've been following the saga of Elon buying Twitter. And we see news today that Twitter eyes deal with Elon Musk as soon as Monday. Okay, as soon as today. All right, so Tesla's billionaire founder lining up partners for acquisition. Musk is discussing a potential takeover of $54.20 per share. So I'm not subscribed to Bloomberg here, but we'll just power through this banner here. So Twitter, basically, they've been talking about this, but apparently they are starting to actually warm up to the idea. And from what I'm looking at the news here, it looks like this is potentially going to go through, and it could go through as soon as today. All right, which would be crazy. So let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. It's a little bit unclear from the sources that I'm seeing here. What are you all saying about this? So it says make Twitter neutral again. It says they had Doge pumping. Yeah, there's lots of people who are saying, kind of getting in the Doge pump, as part of Elon's tribe. So anyways, this will be absolutely crazy. If this actually goes through. First and foremost, just for the dynamic of tech in general. Okay, so whether it actually ends up becoming a sort of a Web 3.0 platform, that remains to be seen. But this could be a crazy dynamic for the future of social media in ownership. Okay. Somebody says, is it true about Twitter? That's what we're seeing across multiple sites here. Now, that being said, we want to wait and see what the final outcome of this is, but we could have some clarity on this as soon as today. seeing lots of speculation about what's going to happen. That's pretty interesting. So if you look up like Twitter, Elon Musk and Twitter, what it means for Donald Trump's suspended account. Interesting speculation on what the outcome of Elon's new ownership of Twitter could mean for lots of different things. So it's neural linked Twitter. Okay, so let's look at speaking of Twitter and what's going on with the crypto markets, let's look at another thing here. That's a pretty big deal. So the NFT space, in terms of particularly NFT marketplaces, has been absolutely heating up. We've seen. Of course, OpenSea is the top NFT platform by a large margin. Okay, OpenSea has been absolutely just it's crazy how much money they've made off of transactions. And of course, we see lots of people flocking into the space. Like Coinbase launched their NFT program officially for select users. They had like some million number of people sign up for the wait list, and now it's have a limited release on that. Okay, so lots of people are seeing the huge upside in NFT marketplaces, all that type of stuff. And so lots of people are saying like, hey, what's the response from OpenSea to this? How can they innovate? How can they maintain their leadership? Well, we do see a development here for an acquisition from OpenSea to acquire Gem. Okay, so what is this? So to invest in the pro community and continue improving the OpenSea experience, we're excited to share that we've acquired Gem. Okay, so basically, what is Gem? So Gem is an NFT aggregator. All right, so you can basically save up to 42% gas while buying NFTs across all different marketplaces. Okay, so this is actually a pretty interesting play, in my opinion, because I haven't. Okay, so full disclosure, I haven't used Gem before, so I don't exactly know how it works. But let's just kind of put two and two together and think about this for a second. So basically, somebody says I know the guy who runs Gem. That's awesome. I'm gonna put two and two together. I haven't used Gem before. I haven't used every single app in the space. There's too much stuff to use. But let's just assume that Gem. Let's just take it at face value and say Gem is like basically letting you buy NFTs across every single different market and then charge a fee for that. So that's a pretty big brain move if OpenSea buys Gem and then incorporates it in their platform or just operates as a standalone product. And then whenever people buy on Gem and they buy from a competitor, they're still getting a slice of the fees that they would get if they bought from a competitor, which basically allows them to capitalize on a larger portion of the market without, having to capture market share back on their own platform, which is pretty crazy. Somebody says like 1 inch for NFTs. Yeah, totally. So anyway, before, like I was saying, seeing more and more of these sort of small things that kind of add up in the space, to where you're seeing more and more crypto adoption, more innovation, more products shipping, all that type of stuff. This is a pretty good example of that. All these little things that add up over time to where you can have a more mature ecosystem. Like that is one of those things that all those little tiny wins add up to sort of push this thing over the edge. Okay. And so that's what I like to really focus on particularly. Let's see here. My browser window crashed here. So let's see here. Speaking of NFTs, let's take a look here. Let's actually check on the chain to see what is currently trending. Okay. All right, so I'm actually going to look at what is currently trending on chain right now. So basically, we're going to look at smart contracts that are recently deployed to the network that have, let's see here, have significant financial inflows. So I'm just going to pull up a couple of these literally on my screen while I'm talking here. I've not done the due diligence to see what these are, but some people have asked me about this. Hey, what is trending right now? So what am I using, by the way? So people have been asking me about the launch of Block Size. This is my new product that lets you find profitable cryptocurrency opportunities for other people, whether it's NFTs, new tokens, or anything like that, with advanced blockchain analytics, and that's exactly what we do. And so today, what I'm going to do is actually pull up the trends. We could do things like surface trends on chain. That's what I'm looking at right now. So a lot of people, we did our public launch last month. Lots of people say like, hey, when can we get access to this? So I'll put a link down in the description below so that you can sign up for that if you want to. But I'm gonna actually just kind of do a quick check here with the trends and see what is happening on chain. So like right now we can see that we currently have an NFT drop that's happening. And that's one of the cool things you can find about this stuff in real time. So you can see it's like mint, 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 mint. So this public mint, let's see what it is. Again, I haven't done due diligence on this project, but let's just take a look here. It's the Apians NFT project. It's not like a sponsored video or anything like that. I'm literally just checking into this. This is kind of the routine that I do. It's like I look to see what's happening, and then just kind of like basically you get on Google and find out what the project is, do the due diligence, look at their social media accounts, check their Discords. Yeah, found it. It's the ecosystem for fashion NFTs. A lot of ape NFTs out there. lot of monkey pictures. So we got another NFT project pre-sale. Let's see here. So we got another one here. What is this? The Easy Demons. Easy Demons NFT. Found this on Twitter. Let's see here. The demon listed mint is live now. So I don't know anything about these projects. I'm just literally showing you how I use this to check on projects as they're trending in real time. I mean, you gotta definitely be careful in the NFT space because you don't know like what's gonna be a potential rug pull. Okay, I'm definitely not showing anybody any of this information to be like suggest that these are opportunities that they need to jump on. But that's how I do it. Sort of like a daily routine. You just get up, check the chain, see what's trending, and that's the cool thing about that is you can actually surface those trends and find stuff that's happening in real time, and you can actually cut through the noise because it would take you an insane amount of time. Like first of all, you'd never find out about this stuff on Twitter because like nobody's gonna tell you until after they've bought stuff. And then the other thing is like if you were to try to find all these stuff like you couldn't just sift through the entire blockchain by yourself and look at each individual transaction. It would be way too crazy. You'd have to have something way more advanced that can actually track, the flows. There's over 1 million transactions per day. You couldn't sift through all of them. Somebody says way over the aloof ape thing who is bored with life. Did I see the Department of Justice bring charges against the NFT rug? No, I didn't. I think I did maybe see that. Um, I didn't see any more details on it though. So, anyways, yeah, that's an overview of what's trending right now. If you want to find out what's trending in real time, not have to wait for me to look on our live streams that we do, I'll probably start incorporating this more because people was like, hey, what's happening right now? Well, that's what's happening right now. But if you want to find out what's happening in real time, get alerts, all that type of stuff about what's trending, you can definitely sign up with the link down below. Why this live? I'm joined now. It's live because we do it live every day. Or 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Just subscribe, turn on notifications. You'll find out about those whenever we go live. It's a batch minting. Yeah, it's early. So let's see here. So it's a good question. So what, you said, may have addressed this before, but what do you make of clouds like AWS interfacing with blockchain? What other huge data centers do blockchain use to manage the volume? So, I mean, I guess, if the question is in terms of like blockchain nodes and like data centers, I mean, I'm very realistic and that a lot of people are going to run nodes in the cloud on, cloud infrastructure. I think the best possible outcome in that situation is basically to have, a variety of cloud service providers so that, AWS can't just go down and then you just lose a blockchain. I mean, the counter to that though, or not the counter to that, but a different objection is I don't think it's good though to have a blockchain where you need like a supercomputer to run a node. Okay, that's not really the ideal situation by any stretch of the imagination, because really what that does is it's an even bigger centralization risk. Of course, there's a centralization risk if you have a large number of nodes running on a cloud provider, and that cloud provider can go down, right? But what I'm saying is let's just add an additional risk on top of that, which is even if you were to run your own node on your home computer, if it took a supercomputer on your home computer to do it, that's still going to cut down on vastly, that's going to lead to centralization risk, because that's basically going to say the only people who are going to run nodes from that network are people who have a vested interest in seeing that network succeed, which is likely going to be, creators of the project. Or people who just hold a lot of the crypto. This is and cartels. Yeah, totally. Like we want to collude to keep prices high, and we don't want you in. So this is launching their NFT project on May 5th on Solana or Cadena. If I get a grant, any good tips on marketing our project? It's been the hardest part. Yeah, so marketing probably would be the hardest part. So I would say basically, you definitely want to do boots on the ground marketing for your first project is sort of I mean, unless you're already a marketing person and you have, that sort of head around your shoulders. But for most people who are just like starting out and trying to figure out how do I market this thing, honestly, the easiest approach is going to be like really organic marketing, where it's like, doing social media, getting in Discord groups, all that type of stuff. It's going to be a grind, okay? It's going to require some effort for sure on your part, but that's probably the easiest way for most people to get started. Great questions. All right, so that's all I got for today, everybody. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so the more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Weighing in my YouTube homepage, you can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.